Tonight on SUTV News, residents in Nauggle Hall can't seem to stay dry.
And a SHIP alum hangs up her badge at the police department.
All that and more right now. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Avery Quinn.
And I'm Isabella Marcelino. Last Thursday, Nauggle Hall residents woke up bright and early to what many thought was a fire drill. Not long after the 5:45 alarm did they find out it was a more serious issue. A pipe burst in the residence hall, causing flooding in some hallways and residents' rooms. Officials stopped the leak that day, but the cleanup is a long-term process. After being outside for 2 hours, most residents were allowed back in their rooms, but some weren't as lucky. Until drywall is replaced and other damage is fixed, some students are temporarily living in other buildings. There is no word on exactly how many students were moved and how much damage was done. Shippensburg University is leading the fight to end sexual assault thanks to a grant for Governor Wolf, and It's On Us PA SHIP is expanding the current No More campaign to start a new bystander intervention program called Green Dot. Green Dot provides a common language and addresses high-risk intervention, improves response systems, shifting norms of inaction, and strengthening policy and enforcement. Dr. Carter hopes this new program inspires students, faculty, and staff to take a stand in our communities and make a difference. It's On Us PA works to bring together colleges and universities to reframe the conversation around sexual violence. SHIP is one of 38 colleges and universities to receive the grant.
The campus police department saw a familiar face retire this past week. Chief Sitha Grissom recently hung up her uniform with the SUPD. When Grissom started her career in law enforcement at the Gettysburg Police Department, she was the first female officer to be hired in Adams County. In 2004, she returned to her alma mater as the Chief of Police for Shippensburg University, where she worked for 15 years. We here at SUTV wish Chief Grissom a happy retirement. SHIP's Rec Center is helping people stick to their New Year's resolutions. Over winter break, equipment was installed. The equipment included 2 stair-steppers, stationary bikes, and a variety of other cardio machines. But if that doesn't excite you, each machine has a touchscreen that lets you log and record your personal improvement. For competitive students, you can connect with friends and compete during workouts. And for those of us that like working out alone, each screen gives you access to Netflix, Hulu, Live TV, ESPN, iHeartRadio, and more. Millions of Americans are suffering through frigidly dangerous cold temperatures. From Michigan to Maine, sub-zero temperatures and wind chills as low as -50 degrees brought most of the Northeast region to a standstill. The U.S. Postal Service was forced to suspend deliveries in several states, and the Red Cross is calling for emergency blood donations. And the first responders, including firefighters in Chicago, are met with additional challenges when it comes to doing their jobs. Freezing conditions forced thousands of schools throughout the country to close. Back here at home, Shippensburg University's classes were canceled on Wednesday night, and a student-led petition was created to cancel classes today. The petition accumulated almost more than 4,000 signatures. This winter storm will be coming to an end by Monday of next week, with the climate jumping to the mid-50s.
Not too far from home in Scranton, PA, an item sold at a local auction is raising eyebrows and upsetting residents. A Ku Klux Klan robe and hood were sold for $3,000. The auctioneer's decision to sell the robe was met with objections from people in the community, including a local pastor, but the business still stood by its decision.
My reason is it's a historical item. They're very valuable and they're very collectible, and it is strictly historical.
There are supporters of that who still, exist and believe in it and act on it, and so it's not that historical. It's not a historical treasure. It's more of a threatening image to me.
That makes me angry because, like I said, it's just, to me, the message it spreads is hatred, and I wouldn't want anybody to make any profit off of it. No offense to anybody at the auction house. I know them, I like them, but it's something that should not be sold.
Despite the historical significance of this item, the message of hatred is still concerning for auction attendees. The auction house says the robe and hood were brought by an anonymous collector. Well, when we come back in world news, we take a look at heart disease in America.
And health concerns in Thailand are shutting down schools. The March for Humanity, Bazi, and an editorial on how TV and movies praise inappropriate behavior. Michaela Villano has more on next week's issue of The Slate.
Coming up in The Slate next week, we will cover the details of the March for Humanity as well as the Bazi and Bryce Vine concert happening this weekend. Other stories include Shippensburg's women's basketball, the Slate staff's editorial on how the TV and movie industry glorifies inappropriate behavior, and the international students' experience in China. Be sure to pick up the next edition of The Slate on Tuesday in newsstands around you.
The search for an Alaskan air ambulance continues. SUTV's Paige Ahrensmeyer has this week's world news. Paige?
The American Heart Association is sounding a warning. Nearly half the U.S. population has heart disease. A new report is saying 48% of Americans, or more than 121 million adults, have some type of cardiovascular disease, or CVD. The condition is defined as having coronary heart disease, heart failure, a stroke, or high blood pressure. Now, the bit of good news from the report shows that smoking is at a low and exercise rates are up. Instead, these heart diseases are caused from high cholesterol, diabetes, and lack of sleep, to name a few. China's fastest subway train made its debut trial run Tuesday in Beijing. The train has the capability of traveling at a speed of up to 160 kilometers or 99 miles per hour and will run on the 41-kilometer subway line to Beijing's new airport in just 19 minutes. The subway train is expected to be ready September of this year, the same time the new Beijing International Airport is set to open. These trains have another factor to set them apart. They will boast a business-class carriage, which is the first in the country. Now, while some U.S. schools are closing for snow, Thailand's schools are closing for health concerns. Thailand's Ministry of Education has ordered all schools in Bangkok and some surrounding provinces to close for the remainder of the week over concerns over dangerous levels of air pollution. According to the country's Department of Pollution Control, Bangkok's air quality has fallen to harmful levels, exceeding what is considered safe in 41 areas around the capital. Today, their government deployed drones spraying water from the sky with hopes of relieving smog. Thai officials are having an emergency meeting this afternoon to discuss resolutions. Authorities are still searching for the Alaskan air ambulance that went missing on Tuesday. CNN's Jill Burke has more.
Guardian Flight's Anchorage headquarters are quiet. Its planes grounded. Tuesday, in the cool waters of Frederick Sound, its crew in one of its aircraft went missing.
Immediately after getting the message, we had 6 boats head out into the area. 2 smaller boats that are fast went out ahead of the bigger boats.
An air ambulance and its pilot, nurse, and paramedic almost to their destination, 630 miles from Anchorage, and then nothing. A multi-agency effort now positioned where the aircraft dropped off the radar.
The search area is roughly a 30 by 20 square nautical miles in size and about 20 miles west of Cape. So that's the area that they're looking for.
First responders looking for 3 of their own.
It is water and also land because we do have the helicopters in the sky and we also have the vessels in the water as well. So we are saturating the search area in hopes that we locate them.
Guardian Flight has called the event devastating. A night and day of searching and still few answers.
Right now, we are in the posture of hopefully locating this missing aircraft and those 3 people.
For residents in Cake and across Alaska, medical air crews hold a critical line between life and death.
They come pretty much day or night, as well as the weather permits them. But yes, they're very, very important, and we're very grateful that we have them find in our area.
Now, a new mission: help bring the missing rescuers home.
Of course, we're all, have heavy hearts, and we had high hopes that we would be able to find them.
Guardian Flight says right now it is not flying to give its employees some space and time. The big game is this weekend, but before you cheer on your favorite team, watch out for scams. A multi-agency operation made over a dozen arrests for counterfeit tickets and merchandise. U.S. Immigration and Border officials confiscated nearly 300,000 items worth an estimated $24 million over the past year as part of Operation Team Player. That's almost $10 million more than last year. Officials are encouraging fans to be careful where they buy apparel and check your ticket before you go to Atlanta. That's all I have for your world news. Enjoy your weekend, Ship.
When we come back in entertainment, Black Panther is coming to a theater near you again.
And Kate Hudson takes to Instagram to her genderless baby approach to raising her daughter. So Isabella, I gotta tell you, I am really excited for this weather to finally warm up. I can finally stop wearing a onesie under my clothes when I go to classes.
A onesie?
A onesie. And then when I'm sitting in class, like, it's comfortable, but then I get hot. And then I'm like, I can't like take off my clothes because then there's just a onesie there. Because it's just the onesie. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But then I go out in the cold and then finally I'm like, oh. I'm finally like, it's not too hot anymore, but then it gets cold again and it's my face and I don't have a onesie for my face, so I'm just sitting there with my face, it's red and it gets cold and oh my goodness, let's just send it to the weather.
I mean, let's send it over to Sean to see what our viewers can find out about the weather. Here we go.
Hopefully you all enjoyed a nice 3-hour delay this morning as we saw another day of low temperatures and high winds. Tonight, temperatures will stay low as we transition to some possible snow showers Friday morning into the early afternoon with a high of 24 and a low of 17. The blistering cold wind will ease up and temps should rise as we take a look at the 5-day. Saturday, winds still at 8 miles per hour, but we should be in the low 40s. Sunday will be mostly sunny with temperatures reaching 50 degrees. Monday, we'll see some pretty cloudy skies with a high of 52 and a low of only 44. Tuesday will be much of the same with some cloud coverage, but get this, a high of 60 degrees. That's right, 60. Been a while since we could say that. Finally, on Wednesday, we'll see a high of 53 and some scattered showers throughout the day. That's all we have for this week's weather. Let's ride these crazy winds back to the desk.
Fans who missed Black Panther on the big screen last year, or who just want to see it again, will have the opportunity to attend a free screening in February. Disney has announced the movie will play twice a day at 250 AMC locations nationwide from February 1st to February 7th in celebration of Black History Month. Black Panther made over $1.3 billion at the global box office and is one of the contenders for Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards. To find out if Black Panther will be coming to a theater near you, visit sutvnews.com for more information. Taraji P. Henson made her mark on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this week, finally receiving her very own star. The 48-year-old actress talked about the long walk to fame and how she got past the Hollywood stigma that plagues women over 40, saying, "I want to be around forever and I want to break through the glass ceiling." The Empire star also took time to thank her grandmother, who is present in the audience, saying that she taught the family how to love and she keeps us very close. Along with Empire, Henson has starred in movies such as What Men Want and Hidden Figures and will continue to try to make an impact on the big and small screen. On Saturday the 26th, rapper XXX Tentacion and his girlfriend welcomed their baby boy to the world 7 months after he was killed. Before X's passing, he chose the name Gekume. He came up with the name because it was derived from a word that X created himself before he died, which means a different state or next universe of thought. His mother posted a photo on Instagram with the caption saying, "He left us a final gift." On October 2nd, 2018, Kate Hudson and her boyfriend, Danny Fujikawa, welcomed their first child, Ronnie. In a recent interview, Hudson mentioned she was going to raise her daughter with something like a genderless approach when someone asked how she will raise her daughter when compared to raising her son. She addressed this controversy in her Instagram post this past Monday. Hudson said, quote, "Raising my daughter to be genderless is silly and frankly doesn't even make sense," unquote. All she hopes to do is raise Ronnie to be who she feels she really is and does not want to force her to be the typical female stereotype. And that is it for entertainment. Let's take it back to the desk.
When we come back in sports, men's and women's basketball hosts Bloomsburg, and we'll take a look at this weekend's big game.
Jake Rom has more when we come back.
few days away from the big game, and both the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams are getting ready. Rams head coach Sean McVay looking to win a championship in just his second year coaching. And on the other side, the Patriots are looking to tie the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise with their 6th championship, and they are playing in their 3rd straight big game. If you're over 21 in Pennsylvania, where sports gambling is now legal, you may want to be prepared. Right now, the odds for the game are the Patriots giving 2.5, but that line could move as the game gets closer. The most important thing is, if you're considering to gamble, is never bet more than you can afford. The big game is set to kick off at 6:30 on CBS. Let's move to Shippensburg, and women's basketball freshman Ambrielle Green was named PSAC East Freshman of the Week on Monday. Green was a force to be reckoned with in last week's games against Mansfield and Westchester, where she averaged 18 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. This is the 3rd time this year that Green has won this award. Sticking with women's basketball, the women's had a big game Wednesday at home against Bloomsburg, trying to keep their 4-game winning streak alive. The Huskies, well, they're on top of the PSAC East standings, and the Raiders, they're 3rd in the East, so this game is big for the women. It started slow, but technical difficulties, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit. Sticking with in men's basketball, the men, they're coming up into Wednesday 10-3 in the PSAC with another conference opponent on schedule. And the Huskies, well, they came into Higas Fieldhouse looking for an upset, but in the end, they should have tried to go somewhere else, as they lost that game by the score 93-60. Moving on here, after a long winter break, the women's indoor track and field team was back in action this past weekend. The team split between 2 meets held at Bucknell and Penn State universities. The team performed well in a big Division I field, with a lot of athletes posting good early marks. Sophomore Ashley Kerr hit a nice throw of 41 feet 4.5 inches, putting her in the top 5 of the PSAC leaderboard in the shot put. Sophomore Bella Marcini was the leader for Ship's distance events, placing 3rd in the 1,000 meters with a time of 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Well, now over to the men, where they were also in action at both Bucknell and Penn State. The men had plenty of athletes, just like the women, with good marks to kick off the season. Junior Cam Stroh hit a personal best in the weight throw, over 57 feet, and sophomore Austin Padmore, the reigning 800-meter champion, debuted in his event and ran a solid time of 1 minute 54 seconds. The big performance of the weekend, however, came from redshirt junior Charles Bowman, who broke the school record in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 8.06 seconds. And, well, Charles Bowman's performance earned him this week's Stat of the Week. Bowman beat the previous 60-meter hurdle record held by Austin Schupp by 0.03 of a second, so congrats to Charles Bowman on the school record and this week's Stat of the Week. Tune in next week for the Stat of the Week, and remember, if you work like that, you get the stat. Also, I want to clear some things out. The score of the women's basketball game was Shippensburg losing 78-71 to Bloom, so hopefully we can get you those highlights in a little bit, but for now, that's it for sports. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks for that take on sports. When we come back, we'll tell you more about a dog named Lucy and her long journey home.
Stay with us. Dog is said to be man or woman's best friend, but imagine if your furry friend went missing for 4 years. CNN tells us more about the reunion between Lucy and her owner.
Hi. Yes, sweet girl.
Melissa Gibbard can still hardly believe her eyes. 9-year-old Lucy has been missing for 4 years. This is how she looked when she was last seen in 2015. And this is how she looked when she was found alive yesterday.
Charles, the animal control officer from Belle Meade, is the one that posted her on the page and asked if anyone knew me.
She was spotted on the streets of Belle Meade, and that's when Melissa got the call.
We just thought somebody took her and we couldn't, she was gone. And then I got a call yesterday, almost 4 years later, saying that they had found her and that the microchip had my information on it. My daughters and I were just talking about it this weekend and saying how sad it was, and how much we missed her, because she's just a very unique dog.
Melissa and her daughter Abby rushed to the Waco Animal Control Shelter, where the emotional reunion took place.
She's been missing like 4 years now.
I was bawling. Just joy and couldn't believe, she recognized me, and just happiness for our family.
No one knows where she's been, who has had her, and what she's eaten.
I couldn't sleep last night. Just, finding where they had the lure in her, that she had a lure that was like embedded in her fur, and you know, just thinking about her being on the streets by herself.
As we met Lucy for the first time today ourselves, she didn't seem shy or scared.
I have a picture I need to show you that she would like lay up on the console of my car.
Lucy is having a spa day as we speak, getting her first haircut in a long, long time.
Get her groomed and get her fixed back up to her beauty.
And then she's headed home, where she belongs. Her long and difficult journey alone is over.
I can't even imagine that. One time I was little and my dog ran away for like 20 minutes and I was freaking out the whole time.
It's insane. I don't have a dog at the moment, but if I were them, I'd be terrified. That'd be scary. But to have that dog come back, that's insane, right?
It's interesting. You know, after that many years, I feel like I would just give up on it. I feel like the next time I see it, I might be like, who are you? Like I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Like I kind of would forget. Maybe buy another dog.
I
maybe?
know.
After 4 years, you know, you're a dog person. You want another
Gotta
one.
love a dog
How about
and
it? Great
its
happy
partner.
ending.
It makes you want to hug a dog. Well, that's it for SUTV News. I'm Avery Quinn.
And I'm Isabella Marcelino. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.com.
We'll see you next.